The creator of Jujutsu Kaisen kills off popular characters for impact? I stumbled across this trending story about how the creator of the hit manga and anime only kills off characters if the character has the potential to make a reader sad. Now, I haven't caught up to the manga, but I've finished season 2 with the Shibuya arc where it basically just seemed like everyone and their mom was just dying. Some of our favorite characters have been taken out, like Kugasaki and our beloved Nanami, and some of the most questionable characters have survived, like Meimei. If you're like me, you were in shock that so many people were dying left and right when it came to season 2. On top of that, the main protagonist and Yuji Itadori played a huge part in the deaths of so many people because this Sukuna decided to do some damage and just take out so many people. When I first watched season 2, to me it didn't make any sense as to why all these characters were dying. JJK definitely was giving me Attack on Titan vibes where the creator of the show was just killing off everybody, and to me it didn't make any sense. It's no surprise though that manga creators and storytellers alike want to be able to have an impression on their fans to get the most out of their stories. Some of the most notable stories we have seen or have heard have left lasting impacts for generations to come. Especially when we have a favorite character and all of a sudden they are killed off, we're left with a sense of emptiness or sadness. Or when we have a character gaining victory over a difficult challenge like saving the world or defeating a powerful foe, we are rejoicing and are excited that we got to see someone we're so fond of emerge victorious. Now, if I'm being honest, I think that the creator of JJK is low-key cruel because I believe he knows that he has a fan base that's hooked on his stories and he can literally do what he wants to cause the most emotional pain as possible. But he's smart because he knows what will keep a fan coming back, hoping that there's some sort of hope or redemption at the end of the story. This reminds me of a story that over time has captured millions of people's attention. A story that is loved by many, hated by a lot, but the difference in this story is that it's actually true. In the New Testament, we have the main character of the whole universe come onto the scene. God in the flesh, who was prophesied since the beginning of the book of Genesis. What do I mean? After God created the whole world, the heavens, shortly after, human beings plunged the world into sin and chaos because we wanted to be God of our own lives. Our sin is something that separates us from God and being in relationship with Him. And so instead of us coming to God on His terms, we do everything in our power to come to God on ours, thinking that we can gain heaven on our own. God has sentenced all of humanity to wrath and judgment because of our sin. But one day, 2,000 years ago, hope shows up on the scene in Jesus. Now, if you've ever heard of Jesus, there are many things that people say about him and who he was. No matter your opinion of him, most people view Jesus in some sort of favorable light. Some people view him as a good moral teacher, some people view him as a revolutionary or a miracle worker. But what some miss is that he is the hope and salvation of humanity. In the gospel story, we see Jesus going around telling people the good news, the message that the hope to the world has finally come that will fix this broken world from sin and death and evil, and he is bringing it. Throughout Jesus' story, we see many things like healing, teaching, feeding the hungry, raising people from the dead, rebuking hypocrisy from the Pharisees, teaching people about the kingdom of God and how they can get there. And as the story goes deeper, he gains a following. Jesus becomes popular and the people start to hope in Jesus, believe in Jesus, that is this the Messiah who was prophesied, who is to come, that will set Israel free from Roman oppression. But there's a twist to the story, and this may be a twist for you too. Jesus dies. The main character of the story, the focus of the entire Old Testament and New Testament, the person who the disciples thought would restore the rule and kingdom to Israel, dies. The one who they thought would bring flourishing for them died. Hope stashed, joy turned to sorrow. To put a pause in this story, I think when the creator of JJK says that he doesn't kill off characters unless they have an emotional impact on the fan, it's brilliant and yet devastating. Because this is exactly what happened with Jesus, because the death of Jesus had an impact on everyone around him. But there's another side to his death. Jesus' death wasn't just to bring about sorrow about the only human who was perfect and just to ever live. Jesus' death brought about redemption to the world, a chasm of sin that separated me and you from a holy God. Jesus' death brought the wrath of God that was deserving of all sinful humanity And Jesus drunk it all because he loves us, so that you and I can be in relationship with God purely by nothing we have done, but everything that Jesus has done for us on the cross. But that's not it. Jesus got in the flesh, rose from the dead, so that you and I could have reconciliation to God, the hope of the universe restored in the risen Messiah to bring about the restoration of this broken world. And now he invites us all to trust in him, to believe in him, Jesus, who has tasted death for us, so that we could have life. Akutame wants to impact us with sadness with the death of our favorite characters like Nanami and Kugasaki and whatever other characters that will die in JJK. Jesus wants to give us life through the death he suffered on the cross for us. But the difference with this story is that the story of Jesus is true. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will catch you in the next video.